Welcome to Choose You Conversations, where we focus on self-care so you can do a better job of doing what God put you on this earth to do. I'm Dr. Rachel Mitchell Elahee, psychologist, executive coach, and author of the book, Choose You. Greetings, everyone. We have an amazing show today. I'm so excited because I have the incomparable. Somebody say incomparable.
Incomparable.
There we go. We have the incomparable Alisha J. Blanding, aka Alisha J. So let me tell you about this chick. She is no joke. So Alisha, man, baby. So Alisha is an entrepreneur. She's an author. She's a fertility advocate, and she is a purpose, confidence, and transformation mentor. She's a bad chick, y'all. She helps women ditch the traditional church girl stigma and confidently, and I do mean confidently, head up, chest out, walk in her God-given purpose without sacrificing her personal flair. When I tell you that she exemplifies all that, my stuff is moving. Y'all like, why is my screen? It ain't your screen, it's my screen. Fret not. So, Alisha J, let me tell you, this girl has gone to Emory, so she's smart, y'all. She not only cute, she's smart. She's the former host of the Church Girl reality online radio show. That international bad boy aired in over 129 countries. Is dedicated to highlighting the religious, spiritual, and societal topics that impact Christian women worldwide. Okay, perfect. So she's a well-respected motivational speaker. Her powerful messages help women overcome self-sabotage and shatter limiting beliefs, unlocking their full potential. So we're going to have a show today. She has a lot of knowledge to impart. Thank you so much for coming. And I haven't said the most recent accolade, baby. She is the author. So she's not only all those things, she also adds author. Somebody like, would that girl quit clowning? Okay, for real. She's an author of the book, Unmarried Without Children. A moving testament it is. Let me tell you. It gave me all the feels. It made me tear up. It made me laugh. I love how you brought your authenticity and your humor, and you were just all in all real, and I love that. We're going to tell the people how to get your book a little later. So that's just the overview. That's just a little bit of overview of what Alisha J brings to this podcast. So, again, thank you. So why don't we start with the last thing? Tell us about your book.
Well, okay. So I am the author. Of course, I have it handy. Unmarried Without Children.
Just happen to have a few copies around.
Yes, yeah. Around the house. Unmarried Without Children. So I was never a person who was going to be an author. Dr. Elahee, I didn't think I was going to be an author. But first, before we get into that, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm super excited, and congratulations to you on your podcast.
Thank you much.
Super excited to be here. It is an honor, and I love Dr. Elahee. She has just been a part of myself and my mother's lives for so many years, and just been a blessing to us in so many ways. So thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I said that before I get into all the things.
Your family is phenomenal. I gotta say that. Your family is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Y'all just good, solid, salt of the earth folk.
Listen, to God be the glory, and some good genes. Shout out to Grandma and Grandpa. So yes, Unmarried Without Children. I never thought I was going to be an author. I loved, just being Alisha and, doing the things. I had a friend that told me I was going to be an author one day, and I honestly thought it was just going to be a book of prayers for makeup artists. Mm-hmm. And as I was going through my life's journey, so for those of you who want to know what Unmarried Without Children is, first of all, unmarried means you are single. You are not married. The reason why I don't like to use the word single is because single signifies that you're by yourself. Unmarried to me just means you just not married, right? Or you're divorced, unmarried, whichever.
That's an
But
important clarification. I like
yes,
that.
very
There's a
important.
negative connotation to being single.
Exactly. So I'm not the only one in the crayon box because I got Jesus and I got family and I got friends. So I'm not single. I'm just not married. So I'm unmarried. And of course, I don't have children. I am 40 years old now. When I was 34, I was diagnosed as perimenopausal. And for someone who has been, grew up in a very well-rounded family, my grandparents were married for over 60 years before my grandfather passed. Seeing marriages, solid marriages. I've always wanted to be married, always wanted to have kids. And so at 34, when the doctor was like, hey, having some children might be a little challenging, I was like, what? Excuse me, hold up. That's not in my
Sorry,
plan.
that's not in my file. It must be the file after that one.
That part.
God's purpose for my life, and that ain't it. The devil is a liar.
This ain't on the checklist. Exactly. This is not on the checklist. I'm already 10 years behind in marriage. Like, I was supposed to be married at 25. We're already behind the timeline. So, something ain't right. So, I was like, okay, this is definitely not in the plan. And I'm super frustrated because not only do I not have a man, now you're trying to tell me I can't have no kids. And then, when I was younger, my supernatural mother passed away when I was 6 years old from leukemia. And, to have that
your natural mother.
Yeah, my natural mother. My supernatural mother is still alive. Lord Jesus, she's still alive. She is still alive and will still be alive. No. Oh, my God. And by supernatural,
Lord Jesus, not Pastor Peter, don't tell me.
Pastor Peter's not passing away, okay?
Told me nothing.
She is well and alive, okay? My natural mother, Frida Blanding, passed away when I was 6 years old. So, it complicated things. So I'm like, God, you took my natural mother. Now you want to take my ability to be a mother away. And, I went through the depression, went through the crying and being mad. And, yeah, I got upset with God because I didn't think it was fair. I honestly was like, this is not fair. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. And I think people have a hard time just being real with God. Like, I know we have to have reverence for God, but God know who I am. It wasn't like I was cussing him out because I ain't going to cuss God out. But I'm telling him how I feel.
Absolutely.
Because I have that relationship with him, right? I know God knows how I communicate with him, and I know how he communicates with me. And so, we had a lot of nights where I cried and was just like, I don't like this, I'm mad. And then on top of that, I tried to freeze the eggs that I have. So if you read the book, you'll understand, the dynamics of all of these things. And so when I went to the doctor to try to freeze the eggs, they basically told me I had nothing to freeze. And so when you're going through that process, you have to inject yourself with hormones. So not only am I dealing with emotional distress, I'm dealing with chemical imbalance at this point. And they know this because they give you a list of counselors before you leave the program because they know your hormones are all over the place. Thank God I already had a therapist in place and, things were, I was able to speak to them about these things, but it was just rough. And I was crying a lot and, gaining weight and not understanding and just all the things. And so, did not know, flash forward, a few years later that God was going to, direct me to put everything in a book. I was like, I'm just going to live this life. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to try to have babies, try to date, try to find somebody who's okay with me, having fertility challenges and go from there. But God had me put it in a book because he knew he could trust me with my story to share it, to encourage somebody else.
And it is a wonderful story. It's a beautiful story. Thank you for being obedient and writing it. There were so many points that I can see you. I could see you when you talked about walking back into the same, getting the call, going out into the foyer. I'm not going to, it's not a spoiler alert, but just walking out into, leaving the sanctuary and going into an office to take the call and the devastation and then coming back in, and I could picture your mom catching you catching your mom's eye in her. I could just imagine her heart clenching because she knew something was wrong and didn't know. So
Yeah.
you guys definitely want to read the book. There was so much in there. Oh my goodness. So one of the things that you said early on in the book is that your identity had been wrapped up in the opinions of others for years.
Yes.
Say more about that. I mean, how did you get released from that?
Um, it's still a daily. It's a daily thing, right? Because social media has compounded this so much. Because it's easy to compare yourself to others and to still live under that stigma of having to be perfect. I literally had a conversation with my friend the other day, and I was hesitant to be really raw and vulnerable with her about what I'm going through right now, because of that picture of perfectionism that we have been taught so long to live under and try to abide by. And what I've found is that the more that you're real with yourself, the more people will trust you, the more people can relate, and the more people are set free from their trauma, right, and their drama, because they like, oh, if you went through it, I could go through it and come out pure gold too. And so I think we've been doing ourselves a disservice. Now, I'm not going to share all the nitty gritty details of everything with everyone, because you can't trust everything with everyone. But there are things that you can, share that can help free someone, and you just never know what that does. And so, once I got to the point of saying I'm tired of living in this box that people have put me in order to appease them, in order to make them feel comfortable, and I'm uncomfortable all the time. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this no more. Like,
Right.
why?
Right.
Why am
Right.
I making myself uncomfortable all the time? Like, there's compromise, understandably, in any relationship, not just platonic or husband-wife relationship. There's always going to be compromise. But I was like, I'm not setting boundaries for myself, and I'm worn out. Because I'm trying to please everyone, and I can't please everyone, because one day Dr. Elahee might want the blue shirt, but my mama wants the red shirt, and I can't wear both shirts at the same time. So I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work for you, girl. I ain't trying to die young.
Because the stress of that will absolutely show up in your body. And here's the
Mhm.
other thing. You talk about other people putting you in a box. And the crazy thing is that we'll put ourselves in a box too.
Yes,
So other
yes,
people are doing it. We're doing it. They have
yes,
expectations. We have expectations. And it just becomes unbearable.
absolutely, absolutely, and it
And then
gets
you
to a
got a
point,
triple whammy.
right?
Worship leader, minister, PK kid times two. That's probably a
Listen,
quadruple.
it is, and it was a lot, and I had to step back. And I know a lot of people are kind of trying to understand why I left my parents' church, and it's because of that dynamic. It was a lot to have to deal with. I'm like, it's a lot to juggle. And I commend preachers' kids on 10,000, but my parents didn't become pastors until I was an adult. So coming into this as an adult, trying to find who I was and my own identity as an adult, and then navigate that, it was a lot. And so I was like, you know what, this ain't working for me. So, and I love my parents' church is an amazing church. And it's not that the people of God were just really ratchet towards me. It was just the pressure of having to live that life of being perfect, and amongst some other things, but we won't go into that. But it just was, there's a stigma that is surrounded by that surrounds pastors and their families. There's this thing that we're supposed to be perfect and nothing's supposed to go wrong. Or if you're the pastor kid, you are just the most ratchet. You out here, you doing drugs, you having sex, you have all the kids, and it's so hard to overcome the negative and then also try to live the perfect, right? And so I'm like, if I want to be in that light, I want to create that narrative. If I'm going to be in the spotlight, I want to be the one to say, no, this is what it's going to be, not you telling me this. And I have a funny story about that. So one of the young ladies that goes to that was in one of our youth ministries. We had a slumber party at my apartment, and so I had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and she said, "You pee?" And I said, I looked at her and I said, "I know this is not a genuine question. I know this young lady is not asking me this question." And so she said, I said, "Yeah." I was like, "Why would you think that I don't pee?" She was like, "I didn't think the pastor's kids peed." I was like, "Oh, wow. That's new. That's a new one.
That's a new one.
That's a whole new thing."
That's
But
PK Hall of Fame right there.
that's got to go down in history. I have never heard this. But
let me tell you the other things we do.
Right. Like we poop too. Like that was gonna blow her mind. I didn't want to mess her up for the rest of the day.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you for protecting our youth.
Right. Jesus, help the children. Father, help the children. But it put in perspective for me what people, like the perspective that people have of me and my brother or any other pastor's kid. Like, oh my gosh, And so after that, I was like, I know how to dress for church and I know how to dress outside in the streets. I was like, oh, I'm going to wear a mini dress. I'm going to have my shoulders out. And then the Lord blessed me with some boobs. And I was like, hey, girl.
Look at world.
I got boobs now.
Hit him with the squeeze and lean. Hit him with the squeeze and lean.
I'm like, listen, I waited 40 years for these bad boys. Hello, world. So, but I know where I am and what to do and who I am, right? And it's not to encourage women to be out here and just be, like all crazy and stuff, because I know that there is a you don't want your good to be evil spoken of, but at the same time, you also want to have balance in your life. I don't want to wear a turtleneck and a long skirt on a date. Like, that's just not going to work for me. There are days I want to be sexy, and I think it's a stigma that you can't be sexy and be in the church, and I think that's not fair.
And we got to understand. We got to understand, or we get to understand what sexy means.
Right. And to me, it means confident. Whatever makes you confident in whatever skin you are in. If you are confident enough to walk outside with, a tube top and, some cute shorts on, if you go on to the park or something, go forth and be great. If confidence to you is the buttoned up, to your neck and, go forth and be great. But for me, I'm somewhere in the middle. And that's me being sexy to me. And so, and sometimes that could be a red lip. Girl, go ahead, put that red lip on. Put that pink lip on. Like, dump that body on. Okay. So whatever that is to you, you define that. Don't let the world define that. Don't let another man define that for you. Even though your husband or your significant other may give you compliments, what makes you feel confident, right? Your confidence begins with you. You should not depend on anybody else to validate your confidence.
I say in my book that your life is not a democracy. Now, other people can offer their opinion, but they don't get a vote.
Yep.
You only want to get a vote.
Yep. You and God, that's it.
You and God, absolutely. Absolutely. That's
God,
it.
is this okay? All right.
God's like, I'm overruling your decision.
That's fine.
Yes.
Overruled.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I will go sit down. I will go put this other dress on. My bad.
walking back like JJ in Good Times, walking back into the house.
Right, that part.
We talk about self-care. And that's what Choose You is about. It's about taking care of yourself because it's nobody else's job.
Absolutely.
It's yours.
Yes.
And so when you talk about confidence, it's sexy. I had an image of someone who might be awfully fine on the outside, but if you have minimal confidence, man, there's nothing sexy about that.
Nothing.
So sexiness is internal and it emanates, and we dress to reflect the way we feel about ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
So we get to put ourselves first. We get to take care of ourselves, and part of that is honoring who we really are.
Yes.
And that's part of what you did when you left your parents' church. You honored who you were.
Yeah, and I didn't leave tackily, right? I wasn't like, oh, forget y'all. Like, I literally had a formal
Where's
meeting.
Alisha?
Right. Had a formal meeting. They had a send off for me once I found a new church home. So it wasn't like I just got up and left. And some people were like, well, we just didn't see
Girl, you heard Alisha love,
that part.
girl.
That part. And I'm like, a lot of people were like, we just didn't see you. And I was like, well, y'all, if you weren't there that Sunday that they sent me off, that's on y'all. But like, but and again, I have my relationship with my parents is fine. We doing good. And the church is thriving. I am learning, where I am and how to adjust to being in a new environment and a new church. So that has been a learning curve for me because I'm used to, the perks of being a PK. So now
Now
I
you
don't have
just a
the
regular girl. You just regular.
I'm just a regular person now. It almost feels like I'm a commoner.
Listen, we're like, do you know who I am? Oh, it's just, no.
Nope.
Okay.
You don't. You have no clue. And that's okay because I love serving the people.
Yes.
Because that's my parents instilled that in me to be servants. And so I do love that I am able to serve at my new church. But yeah,
I'll say this. I bet. And I'll say this too. I am a firm believer that we need I'm trying to think of a good way to articulate this. Really variety. Like you need to be exposed to different
Yeah,
things.
to different
And
things.
because that informs it broadens your
It
perspective.
does.
So different people, different experiences, different places.
Yes.
When I think about people who, this is tangential, but when I think about people who went to the same school for maybe undergrad and grad, and then you work there, you've never worked anywhere
You've
else.
never
But
seen
well,
anything
bless your
else.
heart, you don't know no different.
Yeah.
You don't even know that this is crazy and twisted, and the rest of the
Right.
world doesn't operate this way. You have your perspective is so narrow.
It's
So, for
different.
many
Yeah.
reasons, I love the fact that you were able to step out in bold confidence with the love and support of the people who love you
Absolutely.
and go your way because you're
Yeah.
always welcome back home.
That's it. And I love that you said love and support because I feel like some people didn't understand that. But yeah, my parents do support my decision. Do
Yes,
they miss
yes,
me? Yes.
yes.
Do I miss them? Yes. But and I do miss being at Hopewell Northeast. I will say that Hopewell Northeast is a very loving church and you will not find a church like that. So, if you are in the Grayson area of Georgia, please by all means go and visit Hopewell Northeast. So I want you
Absolutely.
to, yeah, to know that that's a huge thing. But yeah,
Every time I'm involved or doing something with Hopewell Northeast, I'll always come back to Pastor Vita like, y'all church is something. I love my church. I love my church, but I'm like,
yes,
that Hopewell Northeast, what y'all got over there, there's something different about
it's
that church.
different. It's
I
so different.
love it. I
Yes,
love it. Yeah, and so it's well, yeah. So that part. If you're anywhere around Grayson, go go. Go.
yes,
Absolutely treat
exactly.
yourself to that. In your book, you describe yourself as a loyalist with a bad habit of holding on to things much longer than you need to. What
Child.
do you attribute that to? I said, she's
Um,
not a quitter.
I'm not. I'm not. I try not to be a quitter. In certain regards, because some things, I get to, I'm like, I'm not doing this no more. I quit. But but when it comes to like relationships, especially with men, romantic relationships, especially, I found myself clinging and holding on to relationships that were toxic because I was such in a desperate place to be married, and to start my family, especially after I got the diagnosis. Um, I clung on to a lot of relationships that weren't serving me, and I wasn't serving them either. And I'll be the first to admit that I was the toxic one in some, you know, in instances. I was the verbal abuser in some instances. I have since then, recognized and recognize these things so that I can work on them and not be that person. Um, but I believe it comes from when my natural mother passed away. Because when she passed, I was 6 years old. I didn't understand what death was, and how it was explained to me was that she was on vacation, and so I had this constant constant thought that she was coming back. Because vacation, you usually come back.
I remember come back from vacation. I've been on vacation before. I always come back.
I come back. We go to Disney World. We come back. And so I literally asked my dad. I was like, "So she's in Disney World?" And he was like, "No, she's in heaven." And I didn't understand what heaven was. And no diss to my dad, but it's hard to explain to a child what death is, right? You as a parent are trying to figure out what's going on, and now I'm trying to explain this to somebody that may not have the capacity to understand. It's very tricky. And so, no shade to my dad. He did the best he could to explain what it was, but my 6-year-old mind,
going through his own.
Right, he's going through his own thing. And so, he's thinking about, now living life, having to raise a daughter. And God bless him, he could not braid hair for the life of him, but I love my father. And a lot of that grief actually showed up when I was 6 years old. I used to have boils in my hair and my scalp because I was stressed out. I didn't know what was going on. We trying to figure things out. I'm going from my auntie, my cousin's house, and my godparents' house, and my house. My dad is gone a lot of the times because he's trying to figure out, he's working and then, trying to figure out and going through his counseling. So there were a lot of times that I was bounced around just to make sure that, he could have his opportunity to heal. And so this was also in the 80s. So awareness, a lot of things were not, we didn't have the knowledge that we have now. Right.
Sure.
And so again, my dad was doing the best he could do, and he did a great job. And I'm very, very, very grateful to him because he did keep me fed. He kept me clothed. He made sure I had women in my life that loved me. And then he married an amazing woman of God who raised me as her own. So, again, I don't fault him. I just know that there are things that are missing that I have to deal with. And so, and I want to say that for people who are watching this, because I feel like some people don't understand that although those things happen to you as a child, it's your responsibility to now unpack that and go to therapy and pray about it and seek healing, right? Your parents can't be healed for you. Your grandparents can't be healed for you. Only you can go through that process with God for yourself. And Absolutely. So, I've done that with therapy. I've done that with prayer. I've done that, in certain regards. But I definitely think it was an abandonment issue that caused me to be loyal to men that weren't loyal to me or who did not value me. And then I would be in relationships that I really didn't like the guy just so that I could, get married and have that badge. Especially as I was getting older and I was seeing my friends getting married, and I'm like, Lord, what's happening? Hello, we're over here. Yeah, I know you're on my street, but you keep passing my house. What's going on?
right here.
I'm standing on the lawn. I got the big sign, married, right here. We want marriage right here. But I'm glad that there has been a delay, because I didn't really know who I was. And I've said before that if I got married at 25, I probably would be divorced right now, because I was still a hot mess. My ideas of marriage were not very realistic. I had the fantasy, the man is going to take care of me and I'm going to be spoiled rotten, because I am spoiled rotten. I'm going to let you know I am spoiled rotten. I'm spoiled myself. My parents spoiled me. Blame them. They did first. Right? Okay, listen. And I'm used to a certain quality of life, right? And so I would put that pressure on whoever I was dating to maintain that, not realizing that that is not the only thing that marriage entails. Like, you got to like who you're with, because there are going to be days that you're not going to agree with them, or you're going to be like, get out my face today. You got on my nerve. And I didn't realize that, because the portrayal of marriage that I got, which is a great marriage. My parents have a great marriage. But they never argued in front of us. They never disagreed in front of us until we got older, and we got we understood better. So I always thought, argument? Why am I arguing with you? We don't argue. Like, disagree, like fight, like what? And you not agreeing with me? Like what's up with this? Like
Right. Exactly.
I didn't know how to navigate that, right? So, and then naturally I was attracting men who could tell that I was desperate. And so I was ending up with a lot of men who were emotionally abusive, who were verbally abusive. I never had a man hit me, but he hit something in front of me. And so out of his frustration. And it was, part of and I understand why. It was because he was frustrated with where he was in his life. Even though I tried to help and, but anyway, that was a whole bunch of stuff going on with that. But
that's a whole nother book.
That's a whole nother book. Okay.
Stay tuned for trying to heal people that need to heal themselves.
Right. And yeah, that's the crux of it. And now that I'm in the dating field now, I have said I am not going to be the fixer. I am not taking any projects. I started chatting with one guy on an app, and I was like, "Oh no, project, nope, bye." Like, I didn't even say bye. I was just like, "Ghost you." Like, I don't have time. Okay.
Immediately. You said a word, that desperation. All right, and even if it's not desperate for marriage, desperation for anything. Being so committed to a title or to something that you think you want, will have you make some dumb decisions. Listen. You going down with the ship because you are so committed to having this thing that you think you want, or that that God promised you. So You're going to help him out because you're going to bring it to pass. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine just this morning, and I said, it's funny that things can be, that with God, things are really simple. Not always easy, but they really are just simple. And so when it's complicated, that's us.
Yes.
Might not be easy, might hurt, but if he says do this, he's not sending us a whole bunch of convoluted ways. He just said do it. That's it. My friend is ending a relationship and has all this, it's been so hard. And I said, and the funny thing is, it's really not. Like if God said cut it, like really all you got to do is cut it. You keep adding this extra stuff. Well, first let me help her with this, and first let me help her with that, and then we can, and maybe in a few months. And I said, that's not what God told you.
Right.
And we had to laugh about it. It's really simple.
So simple.
But we so get fixated on this thing that we think we gotta have.
Yes. And if it doesn't come the way that we think it should come, then it's not going to come.
Exactly.
It's just
made that mistake.
Right.
20 times more than I'd like to admit. 100 times more than I like to admit.
1,000 times. So people,
just
y'all
this year
alone.
Just this year.
Listen, last year. Listen, we won't go down that road. But
yeah.
But yeah, so even last year I dated a guy, and good guy, but he just had a lot going on, and I was like trying so hard to hold on to that, and I was like, wait a minute, girl, you are a bad girl. You are not married to this man. Y'all ain't even in a relationship. Y'all just dating, right? We just out here kicking it. Why are you holding on so hard? As if there's nobody else in the world.
Right.
Shoot, if I have to, I'm going to start dating internationally. My God. Listen, at this point, I'm about to date white, black, Asian, Hispanic, all of them. Because, listen, your brothers, I have been trying y'all for years. I really have. I really am trying. I really am trying to keep the black family together. But y'all are not making it easy. Some of y'all aren't making it easy.
Some. I'm telling you, fear will have you in a stuck place. Yes. Fear will have you doing some crazy things.
Crazy things. But I do want to say this, because I think too often we harbor on the fact that guys are, a lot of women are like, guys ain't nothing and da-da-da-da-da. I will say this, there are some really good guys out there. And I've met a few of them, haven't really been able to date them because of other reasons. Like, we
Sure.
might not
Sure.
agree on politics, or we might not agree on marriage, or,
Sure.
those type of things. And I think people have to be very cognizant when you're getting together with someone that there are certain non-negotiables, right? And I'm not talking about, oh, he got to be 6 foot tall, he got to make six figures, he got to have six of
Right.
whatever, he got to, right? Plus we don't want him having 666. That's the mark of the beast. Get your whole
Run,
life.
girl,
Run. But you have non-negotiables where you're like, okay, listen, I need him to love family. I dated a guy who did not like family. And I was like, why am I dating this man? He don't like family. He don't even like himself. He don't like waking up in the morning. Every day he complaining about something. Now, mind you, I understand every day ain't going to be rainbows and sunshine, but every day we don't have one good day? One? No. Why am I still here? Why am I still here? Why am I still fighting for this?
Because the power of my effervescence will change him.
That's it. Pixie dust. Change now. Listen. Yeah. Stop trying to change a man. He ain't gonna change. Gentlemen, if you are watching this, stop trying to change that woman. She ain't gonna change. You marry who you see.
Right. Exactly. And the other piece, talking about men who have so much healing to do. And it's the same on the other side of the fence. Because we women have so much healing to do. Listen. I was talking to a guy that I've known for a long time. It's actually a family member. So clearly I've been knowing him a long time.
Right.
And I was teasing him about him dating women so much younger than him. And he said, well, women my age have too much baggage. You, sir, are the baggage. You, sir.
Right.
Like, recover from you.
That's it.
Yeah. But we get to look at, we get to introspect, and we get to, you talked about that, recognizing that sometimes you've been toxic. And so we get to heal that while we are waiting for what's to come and what God has for us, is we get to heal ourselves. I remember, oh goodness, years ago, I was in grad school and my grandmother said to me, Rachel, you want me to pray for your husband? I said, yes, ma'am. You've been knowing the Lord a long time. I think he'll listen to you. And so she said, okay, I just want to know I just want to know, what I'm praying for. And then she called me about a day or two later, and she said, now I want you to pray that you be the kind of woman who would make a good wife. Ooh. And so, no, I'm not just found like I am, but yes, ma'am.
That part.
There's this.
Your grandma came for your edges. She said, snatched.
Snatched. And but there's this sense that I'm all right. Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing really wrong with me. But everybody else, they need some fixing. Fix them, Jesus. Yeah. But we get to really look at, it's about us. It's never about other people. It's about us healing and growing and trusting in God and just being authentic and just being who God created us to be. And when we don't know who that is, because one day you think you know and the next day you're not sure, is that you just put the next foot in front of you. Yes. You just put the next foot in front of you, and you recognize that you're human. And so every day it's not going to be perfect, and you got to figure this out. And right when you think you got to figure it out, you got it all wrong again. Yes. That's what that growing, I think that's part of that growing process.
Yes. And it's a continuous thing. Like, life is a cycle. So it's not like, when life be life and you wake up and you like, shoot, this is not what I thought it was going to be. I just said in the shower today, I was like, man, I want to trade the card for the adulting card back in for the childhood card, please. Like, because ain't nobody care me. that this was what adulting is like. And somebody else said earlier their kid didn't want to take a nap for today. They didn't want to take a nap. I was like, listen, children, listen to us when we say it. Take your nap. Enjoy this time, because when you become an adult, taking a nap is a rarity. Unless you live in a Spanish-speaking country where it's a requirement.
Right. A siesta.
Like, I want to move to Spain so I can take a siesta.
Absolutely. We talk about healing. You talk about healing and therapy. You talk about Jesus and therapy.
Yes.
As being some of the things that help you heal.
Yes.
But some folks think that you don't need to take it to a therapist. You need to just take it to the Lord in prayer.
I used to be one of them people until I really started going through some things, because especially in the Black community, because they thought, seen as being crazy or whatever. Mm-hmm, but white folks been doing it for years. Y'all catch up. Get on this boat. You don't have to get the other boat, but this boat you need to get on.
Get on this boat.
Get on this boat.
Be careful of the boat you get on.
That's it.
But you can get on this one.
Get on this boat. And I think it's safer now because we do have more Black therapists. We do have more Christian therapists. We do have more therapists that are, look like us. We still need more, but, more that can relate and understand. And I think it's easier for us to have those resources now than we did back in the day. But it's important for you to be able to bounce off ideas and your feelings with somebody who has been trained to steer you in the right direction. Because you can go to your girlfriends, you can go to God, right? And sometimes God gives us the answer then, and sometimes God is giving us the wisdom to go to somebody who can get paid to do what you need to do, right? It is important to have that balance. Because there are things that I can't say to everybody because I don't feel comfortable. Like, I can't go to my mama and tell her certain things. I can't go to my dad and tell him certain things. Some people, even with their spouses, have a hard time talking to them about certain things because their spouse may be the problem. So, so you gotta be able to have somebody that's wise. The Bible says, go to gain wisdom, you got to ask for it. And sometimes that's from God. Or from somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. So why should I sit down and not do that? If I have a heart problem, I'm gonna go to the doctor, right? If I have diabetes, I'm going to the doctor. If I feel faint, I'm going to the doctor. If I broke my finger, I'm going to the doctor. So why wouldn't we go to the doctor for the mental ill things that we're going through, stress, all the things? If he didn't provide that resource, why would he provide that resource if we weren't made to use that?
Absolutely.
And you just have to get over
and you
that.
And you talked about even as a child that the stress you're experiencing caused boils in your head. Our emotional distress will manifest in our bodies.
Yes.
Sometimes your migraines, your stomach pain, your back pain, sometimes that stuff is emotional distress.
Preach it. Listen, y'all better listen to this. This is a gem. Y'all better sign up for a doctor like Dr. Elahee, because it's the truth. It really is the truth. Ulcers. Because I told my doctor the other day, I was like, I'm having stomach pain, and she was like, "What you stressed about?" That was her first reaction. It wasn't what you eating, what are you stressed about? Oh.
She asked where it hurt. Is it over here? She can start poking. What are you stressed about?
She started poking, and she said, I was like, "Ooh, that's it." She's like, "What you stressed about?"
Because ain't nothing right there.
Right.
That's the stress button. Stress button. In your book, you talk about infertility, and you talk about being fertility challenged. And I like that word, fertility challenged. So as you're going through, you're 40 years old, unless he's on your doorstep right now, there's not necessarily a husband in sight.
Right. We're working on it, though. We got some
working. He's coming. How do you define self-care in your own life? What does that look like for you in this context of being fertility challenged and unmarried when that's something that you so want for your life?
I have learned, and I started doing this I think last year. I said, you know what, I know I desire to be married and I want to have children, but what I've been talking to my married friends about is, and my friends with kids, is there's like a level of peace that you have when you're single that you don't have when you have kids and you're married, because you have to now divide your attention to all the other things. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be grateful for this season. I got to a place where I was like, I can walk. Literally, one of my neighbors came to my house, and at the time she had 3 kids. They had just announced they were pregnant with the fourth one, or were about to announce they were pregnant with the fourth one. And she came in, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so peaceful in here." And I was like, I was like, I might be onto something here. And sometimes, the quiet does get a little bit jarring, right? But that's what
Loud. It gets loud.
very
The quiet
loud,
gets
right?
loud.
It's very loud. But that's what I have friends for, and I have to remind myself, hey, I can just pick up the phone, have a friend come over and spend the night, and they can go home, right? Or my goddaughter can come over and spend the night. But I'm learning that I can spread out, and if I don't wash dishes for 2 weeks, I just don't wash dishes for 2 weeks, and nobody's judging me for it, right? So like. And it's not that my house is like incredibly dirty, but it's like certain things, like I got my laundry. My laundry's clean. It's sitting in a pile, but it's clean.
Clean pile.
And I don't have somebody that I have to think about to say, oh, is this going to be uncomfortable for them? Because I want to make sure that, my spouse, we are living in a harmonious place in our home, right? So, but I think about these things where I'm like, okay, I don't have to cook every day. Like, I eat out, I order Uber Eats or whatever, and, I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Life. And if I marry someone, I realize that, now I have to change my directive, because I want to at least cook once a week, right? Or whatever we agree upon. And so I'm learning how to be comfortable in my singleness or unmarriedness, and learning how to be grateful for what I have now, but also learning how to prepare for what I want in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
My
that's
girlfriend. That's what.
Set down.
Setting boundaries. Oh, that's
Yes.
the ultimate. That's the ultimate.
Yes. Yes.
One of my girlfriends said to me once, and she's unmarried and no children, and she said to me once, sis, because anytime we talked about getting together, I said, okay, I'll come over your house. And one day she said, do you realize that I've never been in your house? And I
Wow.
was like, oh my goodness, you are so invited.
Aww.
But you know why I want to come to your house all the time?
Right.
Because I got
Right.
4 kids. And at that time I had a husband. And so it's like,
Right.
your place is a place of respite. But
Yes.
okay, come on over. She said, I don't care. I said, all right, well, I can still come to your house, but you come on over and I'll cook dinner and me and the kids will entertain you. But next time, can we go back to your
Right.
house?
And
Can
I
we
get that
go
from
back
my
to your
friends. I get the same thing from my friends who have kids or married or living with other people. They're like, can we
Yeah.
come over and just spend the night? Like, I just need a night where it's quiet. And, I'm like, hey, mi casa is tu casa. While I can, right?
Yes.
So,
What other coping mechanisms have you found helpful? You talked about you've changed churches. You've gone to therapy, prayer. You have good friends. What else have you found to be effective in dealing with the stresses and strains of being unmarried and being fertility challenged?
of course, prayer, because I'm big about spending some time with Jesus. Reading my word, and I'm now currently trying to stay consistent, because I know it's very easy to not be consistent, and that's with anyone, right?
Sure.
um but being consistent in reading the word and just learning new things as I'm reading it. Also discovering who Alisha is has been very therapeutic for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to understand what do I like, what I don't like. What was I told to like that I don't actually like. you know. And then I like movies. I love to dance. So, sometimes I'll just turn on some music and just be like, and sometimes no music. I'm just like, hey, ow. I like to twerk a little bit. We was doing Brick House at the retreat, so I was like,
Baby, that
hey,
gave me life.
that part. And then, making sure that I have people, that I remember that I have people who love me. Because there have been times in my life where I was low, right, and had suicidal thoughts, forgetting that I have people who love me, and or knowing that I do have people who love me, but thinking it was easier to just check out. Um, and but I know that it's only because of God that I'm still here, because I don't think if I didn't have God that I wouldn't have made the decision and followed through, if that makes sense.
And that
Um,
speaks to the gravity of what you were going through and what the different things you've gone through, because it's in your book talks about some of those other things you've been through, and those and we've only highlighted some of them, but that's,
right.
it's a heavy
Yeah.
load.
Yeah. Yeah. And um again, therapy, talking to somebody about it, and giving hugs, getting hugs, giving hugs. I think the science behind it, endorphins and all the good
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
I'm trying to work out again. Trying to get myself back in shape because I've been beating myself up because I can't fit in my clothes. I put on a different shirt, Dr. Elahee, and I was like, you know what? I'm sick of this fat. I'm sick of it. Sick of it. Just sick of it. As I go back to the refrigerator after we get off this call, but um,
What shall I snack on?
right,
Oh,
right. But
thanks.
I do have my workout clothes on under this. If y'all could see the bottom part of me, y'all would laugh. But I have my treadmill up here, so I'm gonna walk. Watch it while I'm watching my show. So those are ways that I kind of cope and just kind of um, you know um, d- just deflate, and
Hmm.
um, meditating on the Word of God really does help a lot. And I used to go to the spa and do all those things as well. Um, in seasons when I could do that, that would be another way for me to cope because listen, I love me some water. Oh, long showers. Oh,
Mm.
Dr. Elahee, if I could just live in the shower and not get all pruny and the water bill wouldn't be
Ooh.
like $2,000. I really want to like live on the beach somewhere by some water. I love me some water.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
It's very calming, and relaxing for me. So between that and my fireplace, and just having that kind of in the background and listening to the water. Literally, the shower is like where I get my best ideas, and I'm like, this really sucks because I don't have no pen and paper here in the shower. I
Right.
think I'm gonna put like a dry
That might
erase
be
board.
an invention. We need
It might
something in
be
the shower with
in the
those
shower, so
brilliant
you write
ideas
write
that
it down.
come. Or
Be
press
like,
a
ooh,
record button,
right,
a
hey,
waterproof. Yeah,
idea for
that's
today.
something.
Yes. So,
I,
but yeah,
and you said something. You had so many nuggets and what you have to say. Um, when you are at your lowest, you you feel disconnected. When you are depressed, when you're all those experiencing all those negative emotions, you are disconnected. Your perspective, your focus is on what you sense as being wrong.
yeah,
And so it's easy to lose sight of, because you have such a narrow focus, you lose sight of the love around you.
yes,
You lose
yes,
sight of everything that you have. And so you have to be very intentional, because you don't just magically think of your family and friends and just feel the love and twinkle. No, you have to be very intentional about reconnecting where you feel disconnected. Or if you know that painting was something that used to bring you calm and peace, the painting isn't like a Dora the Explorer. It isn't going to float in front of your face.
Right.
And for you to just start painting, you got to go get it. You might have to go to the store or hit up Amazon like I do. I don't feel like going to the store. Amazon, have it here by 8 a.m. But you're going to have to go get it, whether it's the music, the food, the long showers. You got to go get in there. And being at your lowest low will have you not even want to get out of bed.
That's facts. Facts.
I've talked to people
that you out of bed is because you got to pay bills.
That's it. And then you might be checking to see how many sick days you have. Because I don't have it today. I don't have it to give. And I tell people, when you don't have it, you don't have it. Maybe pull the covers up over your head. But you set a deadline of when you will get tomorrow morning or in 2 hours or whatever. And you make a conscious decision that you're going to do something different.
Yeah.
You don't have it, you don't have it. But when you do have it a little bit, lean into that thing.
Yes.
You know, you don't have to go nuts, but just lean into it a little bit. You know, and you'll find you'll find yourself in a different place than where you were.
Yeah.
One final question, because I could talk to you for a long time, but the treadmill is calling your name.
It is.
Alisha.
Yes, because it's fat got to go. Oh, fat fall fat. Fat fall fat. Fat fall. Just fall off.
Just fall off. The 40 years. What are some of the pieces of advice that you would give to your past self if you could?
Listen, don't be anxious for things. Just allow God to give you the wisdom that you need in your seasons. And don't be afraid of missing out. I think I spent a lot of years with the fear of missing out. Because I was that kid, that cute kid that was very protected by her parents and couldn't go to a lot of things. And I was called Goody Two Shoes and Oreo and all the things, right? So don't be afraid of missing out. And you are more amazing than you think. People around you see the greatness in yourself.
Essentially, choose you. Is that what you're saying? Choose you.
Choose you, girl. Every time. Bet on black. Bet on
black.
Bet on black. Every time.
Bet on black.
Yes. And also, your parents are amazing. Yeah, I think as a child, a spoiled child, I think I took advantage of that quite a few times. So, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing when you really see them, flaws and all, and see how beautiful and wonderful they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I fully appreciated what I had until I went to college and really, really living among other people, really understanding where they came from.
Yes.
And like, wow, I remember calling my mother like, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Because there's some stuff out here.
Right.
And there are some parents that have done some crazy things. And thank you. Thank you for not letting me go on sleepovers when I thought you were just being mean.
That part! Listen! Because now I'm
happening out here.
Ain't no way you going to everybody's house. They can come over here, but you can't go over there. Never. Ever.
And as mean as I thought my mother was, I share that
Listen.
meanness with my children. Mommy
Okay.
can't know.
No. I don't know their parents. I ain't been to their house. I ain't filled out. I don't know what spirits are in their house. I don't know what they do in their house. I don't know if they smoke, they drink, if they cuss. I don't know. You can't go over there, but they can come over here and get some Jesus.
They can come over here. I don't want to give them Jesus. I want to have ice cream. And
you can have Jesus and ice cream, but they coming over here.
I want to do it over there. I want to do it over there because they look more fun. Because y'all are bored.
If you spend the night over there, your mama's spending the night too. So they need to make a room for me. That what you want?
Forget it. Forget it.
Right.
Just stay here.
Shut down real quick.
No fun. I hate it here.
Oh my gosh. It's the worst. I'm running away. Oh, little funny story. I was watching some video on Instagram, and some little girl, she had to be like 3 years old, and she is boohoo crying. She's like, she got some little book bags, and she's walking out the door, and her mom was like, where are you going? I'm running away. And she's like, why? Because you made me clean my room. I was like, baby.
I wish I had the problems I had as a child.
Listen, you clean a room? Shoot. That's minor stuff.
Listen, and please send me to bed. I don't even take one. No, please send me to bed.
Bedtime? You said 8 o'clock? Oh, say less. Say less. I'm there. I'm already in the bed. PJ's on. Showered. Let's go. Toothbrush. You ain't got to smell my breath.
Those are the kind of punishments I need. Those are the kind of punishments I need in my life.
It made us the amazing adults we are today, though.
That part. That is all very, very true. Very true. Look at you. You, because of all that, you're a makeup artist extraordinaire. You're a fashionable diva, entrepreneur, author, advocate, all the things. All the things. Singer, dancer, all the things. Champion shower taker. Look at God in your life.
My parents hate when I come over and spend the night. They'd be like, yeah, I'm on a dog's water bill today.
Oh my goodness. Why is the water bill? Yeah, she came.
Yep, okay. She came. She was here for 2 weeks. Yep, that's why. Not my brother. Not me.
No, not him. No. Thank you again. I've had so much fun. This is such a pleasure. Thank you for helping me talk to the people.
Thank you, Dr.
About taking better care of yourself.
This has been so much fun.
Good. I'm glad. Be well.
You too.
Choose you. Good night.
Buy the book.
And buy the book. Unmarried Without Children. Please buy the book on Amazon. It is available. And if you put a picture closer to the camera so they can see. Oh, look at the joy. Look at the joy. Look at the joy. Yeah, and all the sexiness. She got Jesus and sexiness.
I sure do. Single, sexy, and saved out here in these streets.
All of that. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
You too.